Welcome to Bet On It. I'm Kelly Stewart, your host tonight, and we're going to break down this week's NFL card with Gianni, the Greek gambler, and Marco D'Angelo. I'm super caffeinated. Marco got me this sweet WagerTalk mug, so I'm going to have plenty of energy. I'm going to be so excited. Oh, by the way, shout out to Prez, one of the owners of WagerTalk, and his Presidential Address for letting me spread my wings and fly so that I can do more shows like Bet On It. I'm really excited for things to come and appreciate you guys. This is only our 4th show, and the response has been so overwhelming that we even have a new college edition. So if you guys are college football buffs like myself, make sure you guys check that out. You guys ready for primetime?
Can't wait.
Okay, primetime. You guys, the primetime games have been so square. Do we have to talk about primetime games?
They really have.
All right, Sunday night.
The favorites.
That's what my buddy Chris tweeted that out the other night. On primetime games, he's like, my new model is just bet the favorite. I'm like, that's so true. I feel like it has been absolutely brutal, minus the Raiders that first Monday night. Oh, no, the first Monday, we got 2 dogs to come in. But since then, it's been pretty chalky. Dallas at New Orleans. Dallas now 2.5. Total 47. This is an interesting one. Sorry, Marco, I didn't look ahead if we're going to talk about the line move. But the look-ahead line at the Westgate was Dallas -7. So we saw this one come 3. Now Dallas -2.5. I'm going to start with you.
Yeah, you're looking at this one. And Dallas, this game and the Monday night game, I'm going to be using the same theory as we had backup quarterbacks making their first start last week. Both of the teams got the money. One of them won, one of them didn't. The injured player theory.
But both of them covered.
Both of them covered.
And that's all I really care about.
That's exactly it. But the injured player theory, guys, this is something that I've used, for years. I mean, I've been in this business for 40 years. You play that injured team the first week. Couple reasons. The public always overreacts to the line, so you're getting value with the injured team. And 2, there's a built-in mental edge. The team that has the injury, they're going to play at a higher intensity level. And people say, they come to play the same every week. No, they don't. I'm sorry. They don't.
Nobody does. But also, how much do you buy into the fact that either the rookie QB or the backup QB has some sort of something to prove?
Absolutely has something to prove, and the other team is going to go at 100. The rest of his teammates are going to go at 110%
and at a lot of times,
compensate for that loss.
Right. A lot of times, the defensive coordinator on the other side wasn't prepping for that quarterback as well.
Right. And if it's a true rookie, you have no game film.
Other than college.
Yeah. Which doesn't apply for the NFL, what they're going to run with them. But in this one, Teddy Bridgewater got the job done. They went into Seattle, got the win.
Good.
They look good. So now everything's okay. And now you got the Saints as a home underdog on Sunday night. Looks good. You know what? I'm starting to buy into the Cowboys. I know they've had a soft schedule so far, but the offense has been efficient as hell. They've scored 30-plus points in every game so far, and they got a little revenge. Or not a little revenge. Last year, Dallas got the win. And if you remember, that was a Thursday night game. I think it might have been around your birthday last year.
It was. I had Dallas plus the 7 at home and on the money line.
On a Thursday night, and I'm sure your trainer gave you the pass that night for the alcohol intake, if I remember some tweets that were coming out that night.
There was a lot of alcohol intake.
that night. And they got the job done at home. I think they're going to get the job done on the road here, too. I'm going to go with Dallas. I'm going to lay the points. It's game 2 of the injured player theory, which says I'm going against that team that had the injury the week before.
VR, are you buying the Cowboys hype?
No.
Me neither.
Yeah.
I've bet against them 3 weeks in a row, though, so I'm pretty much hating myself.
Coming into the season, I had Dallas as a top 5 team power rating-wise. Not surprised they're sitting at 3-0. But before the season started, I had the Saints above them by about 2 points. So if they were playing on a neutral field, I had the Saints as a 2-point favorite. Since they're playing in New Orleans, the Saints' home field advantage is about 3.5 points. I've been there. I was there for Sunday night game against the Steelers, and I never saw anything like that in my life. In fact, I came back and said I'm adjusting my home field advantage for the Saints because it's just an old stadium. It felt like when we used to fight after school and everyone surrounds the 2 kids that are going to fight. That's exactly how it felt. Like you're meeting behind the alley and everyone makes that circle between the 2 guys that are going to fight it out. And it's just so loud and just so, you just see from the false starts and you see the other team having trouble communicating. That gives them a huge advantage. So real quickly, give them 4 points for home, 3.5. So that's about 5.5 point favorite the Saints should be in this game. with Drew Brees. I told you last week the drop-off from Brees to Bridgewater's and Hill is worth around 4 points, 4.5. So you take that off, this game should be around a pick-em. I'm getting 3 points, which it was. Now it's 2.5. Probably going to get 3 on Sunday night, at least at the square shops. I like the Saints a lot in this spot. At home on Sunday night, with that revenge factor, they were undefeated, weren't they, going into that Dallas game? I remember I did a show for the UFC with Daniel.
They had lost. Well, they lost to Tampa Bay.
I did it.
Right?
I did.
And then from then on, they went on like a 7 or 8 game run streak.
Yeah, and I remember I did a show at the UFC with Daniel Cormier, who's from New Orleans. He was going to that game, and I'm like, you're going to be disappointed. I remember loving the Dallas side last year. They came through. This year, it's the other way around, man. I'm telling you, New Orleans is going in there painting with that chip on his shoulder from last year. And now you have a team that we already know was good before the season, now without their stud quarterback, but they have someone that's more than serviceable back there. I think you're not going to see a Saints team that's just going to, the wheels are going to come off and they're just going to start to go down, down, down. I don't see it. I like the Saints in this matchup. And I've been leading the under, to be honest with you. The only thing is last year they scored so few points. The line may be shaded a little bit. But with Dallas coming off 3 back-to-back 30-plus point games and New Orleans 30-plus points last week, I think the under may have some value come Sunday. All
right, I agree with you, VR. I'm not sold on this Dallas Cowboys team just yet, at least from what I've seen from the Giants, at least under Eli Manning, and the Redskins. And, well, let's not talk about the poor Dolphins. I thought maybe they would get that cover there. God, first half they actually tried, and then the wheels fell off. Okay, Monday night, Cincinnati at Pittsburgh. Really tough divisional game, AFC North. Marco, I'm going to kick it to you. Pittsburgh -4, total 43.5. You're a Pittsburgh guy. How were you impressed with Mason Rudolph?
What I liked about Mason Rudolph is that he did stretch the field. They did throw some big passes.
He is a big body, just like Big Ben. I felt like he kind of fit into that offense.
He did, and he has a rocket arm. And I think that once they start connecting on some more deep passes, it's going to open things up because so far the Steeler run game has been non-existent. 32 yards rushing in the first week against New England. They fell so far behind so early they had to abandon the run.
Of course.
They only rushed it 13 times. Then in week 2 against Seattle, 16 rushes for 81 yards. And last week, 22 carries, only managed 79 yards. That's a concern for me. If they're not able to run the football and take some of that pressure off of Mason Rudolph, it's going to be a problem. Everybody's going to look at this game. They're looking at 2 0-3 teams. Well, one of the 0-3 teams wasn't expected to do anything. That's the Bengals. The other 0-3 team was one of the favorites to get to the Super Bowl this year, and they're out of it. So everybody come Monday night, they know the history of the Steelers, primetime games. Tomlin's been good on these primetime games. They're going to come in and they're going to go to Pittsburgh because the season's on the line for them. I think the number's too big.
Yeah.
You've got the experienced quarterback is on the Cincinnati side. And Cincinnati, over the years, when the Steelers have had great teams, one of those 2 games every year seems to be,
yes, for sure.
seems to be where the Steelers have to go life and death to win the game. I can't back the Steelers here. I got to take the points in the game, and this is game 2 of the injured player theory. I'm going to go ahead and take Cincy.
I took Cincy last week versus the Bills. It was down 14-0, and I was hating life. Then Andy Dalton comes to life. Andy Dalton, healthy in September. There's something about the red rifle that comes to play. I like that one, Marco. VR, your thoughts on Cincinnati-Pittsburgh?
How about them Bengals last week getting that cover in Buffalo? All right, I bet this game already. I'll pull the curtain back. Here's how I do things. I create my own line, my own total on the games. Then the lines come out, and I see where I think there's some value. And I make it no secret. I bet for guys in groups that win long term. So throughout the week, I see what they bet. And the ones I agree with based on my work, I piggyback on top of it. And the strongest ones I share with subscribers. Otherwise, I'll pass on it and simply take a percentage because of what I bet for them. They bet the over 43.5. I had made my line 45, so I kind of agree with that. Not enough line value for me to give that out as a play to my guys because I only like to isolate the strongest stuff. But I agree with it, and here's why. The offenses have looked lethargic, and eventually that's going to change. I mean, there's always a regression to a mean, but there's also progression to a mean as well. And you saw what with Pittsburgh last week. They got 5 turnovers from San Francisco. Was it 4 or 5 turnovers? And only 11 first downs on 13 possessions. That's a problem, but I think it's a fixable problem. And the same thing with Cincinnati. I mean, you just had receivers dropping balls, running bad routes. That kind of stuff is fixable. And I think this divisional game, we're going to get some value on that over, where usually on a Monday night game, primetime, that's not the way I'm going to look, because, you know, they're going to shade towards that public bias. Public likes to bet overs. Books got to protect themselves. So they're going to push that line up a little higher. It doesn't mean you blindly bet the unders, but you got to know going in. If you like the over, you need to come strong, because your reasoning needs to overcome that 1, 2, 3 points that they're adding to it. And it can. I mean, you know, it doesn't mean that it's not. So for me, I like the over here. I agree with the move. I haven't unloaded, and this is where I say again, there's a difference between an opinion and a bet. Sharp guys bet this side. I agree with them, but personally, I haven't fired on it myself.
Real quick, just because this is a personal question of mine, I'm looking here at my screen. I'm like, oh, that looks like a nice little teaser bet for Monday night. I have not done well on Monday night so far this year, but everybody wants to have a little bit of action. I'm not saying throw a ton down. Your thoughts on maybe teasing the Bengals and the over?
You're not. It's not a mechanical plus
right. But for action.
If I'm teasing it, I need to have the 4.5 so that you're getting 10.5.
10.5. Okay.
I want to use a 6-point teaser because for people to understand, you can play a 6, a 6.5, or a 7-point teaser. You lay more juice
as it goes up. And now we know books have really caught up where it used to be minus 110. Now you're laying at least 120. Some place on the strip, minus 130 for a 2-team.
I've seen 135.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. And that's all they do to defend themselves. And I think we really got to push that fact, because that's what most casual bettors don't realize. That is everything. Right now, we lay 11 to win 10. If the books just change one simple rule and say, you know what, we're going to 6 to 5, you now got to lay 120 to win 100. 9 out of 10 betting syndicates would be wiped out. Their business would be closed. Their model would have to change. They'd start scalping games, middling games. It just wouldn't be able to overcome that vig with the information. When the hold's that high, you just can't beat it. That's what they did to blackjack. Because it's beatable, because it's a game where the house only has a 0.5% advantage, but if you're an efficient card counter, you have about a percentage advantage over that, maybe 1.5. So what did they do? They changed one simple rule. They said blackjack's not 3 to 2 anymore. It's now 6 to 5. That little change, one simple rule, now gives the house a 4.5% advantage. There's not a card counting system on the planet that could overcome that advantage. Unless you could cut to the ace or do that, which probably 3 guys on the planet are able to do that, you're not going to win anymore. And that's the problem when you talk in sports. When they change that vig, like on teasers, if you're laying 130, 135, you're not going to win. It's just you're making bad bets. They're negative EV bets. Long term, you're going to be down.
Like I told the guy the other day, there are plenty of bookies out there for those that cannot bet legally here in Nevada, New Jersey, whatever. Fire your bookie if he's offering teasers like that. There are other guys that want to take your action. Thank you, VR, for that nice educational segment. We're going to step out for a quick break, but when we return, we're going to dig inside the numbers as we look at which NFL games have moved the most and why. That's up next on Bet On It.
Save $100 on any 30-day package at WagerTalk.com and SportsMemo.com this week. A 30-day package normally sells for $325, but this week only, all 30-day packages are just $225. Never miss a play from your favorite capper, as with the 30-day subscription, you get an email the minute the play is released, so you get the best possible line. This package also includes any 5% plays. Remember, these plays sell for $40 by themselves. Hurry, this offer ends Sunday at midnight.
Oh, hey guys, it's time to take a deep dive into some of those lines that have moved. The Westgate here in Las Vegas always puts out NFL lines a week before. They call those the look-ahead lines. That means you can bet next week's games for this week's games are even played. Once next week's games are played, the lines will change. But the question is, are the moves justified or an overreaction by the public? VR, I'm going to start with you. Philly at Green Bay. Green Bay opened 2.5, now 4.5. We saw the Eagles just get beat by the Lions. They're banged up. Talk to me about this line move. Is it justified?
It's warranted. I don't think it's justified. I mean, I don't think it's correct, but it is warranted. If I was a bookmaker, I'd do the exact same thing. You have a 3-0 Green Bay team against the spread against an 0-3 ATS team in Philadelphia. Philadelphia was one of those teams the public loved up until this season. You know, last year, the year before, people were in love with them. That's not the case. All of a sudden, Green Bay's got a ton of momentum. And more importantly, bettors have a good taste in their mouth back in Green Bay. They've come through for them. And that's key, looking back at which games on Sunday attracted the most betting action and how did the results go. Because some of those teams that had the highest ticket count that ended up cashing, rest assured, there's going to be shaded some bias towards that the following week. And Green Bay falls into that category where they're starting to hurt the bookmakers, not because they're covering spreads, but because they're covering spreads while people are betting them. If they were 3-0, no one's betting them, no one cares. If Tampa Bay's 3-0, no one cares because no one's betting them. But if Green Bay's 3-0, that's a problem for the sports books. And they don't want a team like Green Bay, a team like Kansas City,
Dallas, Patriots,
going
yeah.
14-2 ATS. And how do you stop that from happening? You shade that line as much as possible. So I'm giving you the winner here. It's Philadelphia on Thursday. I don't think the line's justified. I think it's warranted.
All right, Marco. Cleveland at Baltimore. Baltimore open 3.5 now, 7. Freddie Kitchens, I'm going to curse him until I die for that good old performance on Sunday night by the Browns. Now, 1-2. The Browns are 1-2. My season win total under, looking really nice. But
great bet. Who's in love? Well, where's all the Cleveland love, Marco?
Well, and that's why this line's moved from 3.5 to 7.
So is it justified? 3.5 point line moves.
It's a 3.5 point line move. This is a combination where Baltimore looked good in losing. Granted, that last touchdown made the final score.
Backdoor, yes.
You know, and I heard there was some girl down there screaming like a nut at the Caesars on Sunday.
Sometimes
I wasn't playing poker that day, or I would have seen it firsthand, but I heard that there was a real...
I had no business covering that game. So the fact that I got to cover my best bet of the week made me really happy.
It made me happy, too. I think I had it in Barking Dogs or something last week, so I was happy as well. But Cleveland, here's the problem. They've scored 13 points in week 1 against Tennessee. They scored 23 points against the Jets, and the Jets handed them.
Had no one that day. Remember, they got the injured quarterback?
Yeah.
And the backup got hurt, too, or something?
Yeah, they were down to the third-string quarterback in that game. And then last week only put up 13 points at home on a Sunday night game where this was supposed to be their coming out party, national TV audience and everything else. And the coaching, I think you have to adjust them 2 points just on the coaching after what we saw.
It was bad.
What we saw.
I'm sorry.
4th and 9.
A draw play? Marco, I am not a football coach. I never played football. So I already give myself a little bit of that kind of hurts you because people that have played the game, I truly believe, have that. If I'm going WTF, Freddie Kitchens, because you're running a draw play on 4th and 9, we have a problem.
Well, first of all, 4th and 9 from where they were at was a 4-point game. He's supposed to punt the football.
Pin them deep.
Pin them deep, get the ball back. It's a one-score possession. He gave them good field position. They were lucky that they got a turnover to get the ball back to have an opportunity late in the game to get the tie and send it into overtime.
But this is what the worst part is. You run a draw play on 4th and 9, but then you run 4 straight pass plays
inside
on 1st and goal.
Inside the 5 with 2 timeouts.
I hate him.
So, yes, this is an overreaction to the line, but part of it is warranted.
It is a divisional game, though.
It is a divisional game, and basically, if Baltimore wins this game, with Cincinnati and Pittsburgh winless right now, and they beat Cleveland, they take total control of the division.
Baltimore?
Yeah.
And they got Pittsburgh and Cincy up on deck next.
So,
back to back.
yes,
they could close it down by week 6.
The line is warranted for the move. It is probably too much of a move, but when we get to another segment, I'm going to tell you how to get around that.
Okay. VR, Washington at the Giants. Prior to last week's game, everybody wants to go, why would we want to watch this? But it's Daniel Jones season. That's for our younger viewers. Do you know what that means? Never mind. Marco didn't get it. Never mind. I tried, you guys. I'm trying to keep the show young and hip so you guys want to watch. No, all jokes aside, Daniel Jones looked...
People are in love.
Well, now, the only reason why I took the Giants last week is because I said I cannot lay the points with Tampa Bay. That's way too many points. Now, granted, the missed field goals, the missed PATs, all that other stuff came into play. But either way, the Giants were covering that big number. The Giants now, they were 2-point favorites now 3-point home favorites, the Redskins, for the love of God. I don't know what to say. Case Keenum, how many turnovers? Did he have 6 turnovers against the Bears? Now, granted, that's the Bears' defense, not the Giants.
Of course, but it's also Monday Night Football at home, and you got to show up. I mean, you got to play. If you can't show up for that game, there's not much to get excited about. For me, listen, I can't jump on the Giants. I had them last week. They came through. I think the value's probably gone because of all the hype around Jones right now. Then again, the market may not have caught up yet. I mean, listen, we're all guessing here. I mean, some guys out there may think, you know what, the market's way off. They haven't even caught at how good this guy is and how he's going to help change this team. And the Giants may be a great bet for the next 3 or 4 weeks. And guys like me may miss out because we look at it the other way and think
I'm not ready to lay points with that defense.
That's why I'm not willing to do it. I'll tell you what happened. The over got hit. I mean, 2 different groups. One went over 47. One went over 47.5. What's it now? 49, 49.5. So, yeah, the over, they're expecting points in this one. That much I can promise you.
Whether it comes off turnovers or,
at least
or either offenses.
They do expect points in this game. So, again, I agree. It's going to happen because of all the hype and how good he looked, but not a game I'm getting involved in.
All right, Marco, the one that intrigues me the most here, Kansas City at Detroit, open, Kansas City -4.5. Now, Lions -6.5. Now, I know I gave out Ravens on Wednesday. I got a lot of flack because I also gave it on my Sunday morning show. When the show kicked off, I always double-check the board, yell at the producers because I think it's super important that we don't give out bad lines. During the middle of the show, it dropped a full point from 5.5 to 4.5. So if you bet Kansas City late, they did get the cover. We got the best bet here. Detroit beats up a pretty banged-up Philadelphia team. They tried to give that one away. They got the win as almost double-digit underdogs. Why is this points? Why just because it's Kansas City? Is it went from 4.5 to 6.5 because it's Kansas City? What is the logic here?
It's Pat Mahomes. He's the best quarterback in the league, right?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he's top 3.
Best ever.
Listen,
ever.
don't get me wrong. I am buying the Patrick Mahomes hype. But again, he doesn't play defense, which is why the back door was open last week.
But do you trust the Detroit? This makes no sense because both teams exceeded expectations from last week.
Absolutely.
Kansas City, even though they didn't cover the game, closing line, yes, they did. They dominated Baltimore for most of that game.
Like I said, I was very happy to catch Baltimore.
And that, we all heard about how good the Baltimore defense is. Kansas City went up and down the field on them. So that is, yeah, you got to give them credit for that. But how do you penalize Detroit? It's not their fault that Philadelphia was banged up. They went on the road and won. And this is a team now, both of their wins are tainted, but their tie is tainted as well. They should be 3-0 instead of 2-0.
I mean, technically they're still undefeated, okay, Marco?
Yeah, they haven't lost. They have not lost.
Yeah.
They have not lost.
JD, he's getting the Kool-Aid. He's drinking the Detroit Lions.
I don't know. He's been a Lions fan for a long time. I think everybody there is just kind of treading water, waiting for the collapse.
Yeah, this line is not warranted to go from 4.5 to 6.5. But you went through a couple dead numbers. Now you got to the 6 and the 6.5. That's key. If it makes the next tick, you're going to see people you'll see the sharps.
As soon as it hits 7, they're going to come on.
The sharps will grab the 7,
it's gonna be quick.
and you won't be able to get it. It'll be one of those ping pong matches.
I mean, maybe I need to get a booking in Kansas City so I can always get the best line on the Kansas City games because it's going to be so lopsided.
Ain't that the truth?
I know one thing. I like to eat. Me and you's never taken a road trip to Kansas City to try some barbecue.
I'd love to.
I would love to too, but I couldn't.
I don't know if I. Yeah, that's
I don't
the
know if I
problem.
could be seen in Kansas City with you.
I'll take you guys.
Jersey on?
Nobody's going to mess with me in Kansas City. Don't you guys worry. We'll be just fine. All right, VR. Last but not least, Seattle at Arizona. So Seattle off that ugly home loss. Arizona got smacked in the mouth by a kid I had to Google, Kyle Allen.
He's undefeated as a starting quarterback. You know that. 2-0.
Hey,
he started the final game last year.
You're right, but I forgot that was who Cam Newton's backup was because it changes every single year. And so I Googled it before the show and I go, oh wow. All right, this seems like a little overreaction here. I did not expect that result. Arizona gave up a ton of points. Is that the reason why this has moved from 3 to 5?
That's exactly why. And it's an overreaction. I haven't seen any of the sharp groups that I have access to bet that side. And obviously share information with guys I don't have access to that let me know what their people are betting. And no one has gotten a piece of this Seattle side to make that line move. It's simply a case of the books expecting Seattle action because 7 out of 10 tickets are going to be written on that side. You couple that with it being a late game of 4 p.m. Eastern, and the exposure is just going to mount, especially when you don't have all that many attractive games in the afternoon. What do you got? Tampa against the Rams, Minnesota, Chicago, Jacksonville, Denver. Seattle's the one that sticks out as almost the automatic. So I expect that to happen. Look, Arizona hasn't won a game yet, but they're 67% against the spread at 2-1. So, I mean, they are cashing tickets. I don't think it's warranted or justified. I like Arizona as a home dog, to be honest with you. I haven't bet it, though. That's what's scary. Do I really want an Arizona ticket?
We'll see. I mean, who knows? It may get to 5. We've seen some really big line moves already only a month in.
That's exactly what you just said. What if it gets – because eventually – a line moves enough where the other side is the right side.
Yeah.
I mean, even if you like Team A, if the line moves enough, you can't argue for Team A anymore. You either got to pass or jump the other way. It just can't be, I'll take this at any number.
Remember, pros bet numbers, not teams.
All right, guys, time for us to take a quick break. But when we return, it's time for the Steam Game of the Week from Gianni and the Trap Game of the Week from Marco.
Looking for more NFL betting info? Then tune into the Presidential Address each week when WagerTalk's own Lawrence Presman, the Prez, along with Kelly Stewart, break down this week's entire NFL card. The show is available every week exclusively at WagerTalk TV.
This is going to be a fun segment all season long. Why? Because we're like the Detroit Lions. We're undefeated. Gianni's going to give us his NFL Steam Game of the Week, and Marco's either going to bring us his sandwich or trap game of this week. And we didn't prep very well for this show. I'm not going to lie. I get told that these guys have the same game as we're sitting
I
here.
didn't know until this segment. Marco just asked me, who are you using for your Steam play? And then he's like, I'm using the same for
So
the
I'm just going to,
I'm not going to change it, honestly,
no, listen,
because I have options.
No, I don't want you to change
but I'm not going to change it.
I want you guys to bounce back and forth and sell me on why the hell I should bet this game.
As bad as they've looked.
God.
Back-to-back
I
games.
bet against them last week. You guys know I don't bet a ton of favorites.
Listen, and Indianapolis has looked really good. I mean, you know, since Luck, everybody quit on them once Luck went out, and they went into San Diego, LA, call it what you will, and lost that first game, and that was it. And now they've looked good. They beat Tennessee. They beat Atlanta.
Jacoby Brissett looks great.
Real good.
He really does.
What he's benefited from, let's not forget, coming into this season, there was a lot of excitement for what are we going to get from the Colts because Andrew Luck's got a healthy team to work with. He's got all his pieces there.
Fair enough.
So Brissett's
except for Andrew Luck.
He's reaping the benefits. Exactly. He's reaping all those benefits that were set up for Luck to have a great season. But again, I think the progression, not that the regression is going to happen so quickly, but I think they're more a product of good luck than anything else. Listen, they've won both their games by a combined 5 points. You could very easily be 0-3 as 3-0 or 2-1, 1-2. It's not like they're crushing teams. And here you're laying a touchdown to Oakland, who you went in last year and embarrassed them. Put up, 40-plus points in Oakland on them? I think Indianapolis is going to get a game here.
It's moved down to 6.5. Would you play this even at 6?
Yeah, honestly, I would because I made the line 4.
Okay.
And I'd like 7, obviously, and I think on Sunday you probably will get it.
Okay, you think it'll go back up?
I just think you're going to get so many
public
teasers.
Oh,
because that Minnesota teaser was one of the biggest teasers last week because just fade Oakland on the road.
I mean, I laid the points with Minnesota, and in my mind, I'm going, Kelly, you're laying a lot of points with Kirk Cousins.
I had Minnesota in every teaser I could possibly have
and that's going to happen here. That's going to happen here. So I think the books have to go up to defend that.
So I know why it's a steam game. Marco, why is this a trap game?
Simply because everybody, who's going to bet Oakland? Tell me who wants Oakland this week after they got steamrolled by Kansas City 2 weeks ago, lose 28-10.
They beat a crappy 0-3 Broncos team on Monday night at home.
Yeah, and then last week got steamrolled by Minnesota. Remember, Minnesota's got one of the best defenses in the NFL.
Fair enough.
Minnesota was coming off a loss to a division rival. So they were in an angry
You
foul,
were getting their full focus.
And if you're Jacoby Brissett, from the minute Andrew Luck went down, there was questions about, can you lead this team?
Yeah.
I was on Indianapolis in week 1. That was my trap game because I said everybody is going to go against them. They got the money. Then they got a lucky win in week 2, but then they came home for the home opener. He had not played a meaningful game in front of the home crowd since Andrew Luck got hurt. That was, we talk about in college football, I use the term, that was his team's statement game, and then they're going to have a letdown afterwards. That home game for Jacoby Brissett last week was his statement game. He showed the crowd, we can win, everything's okay.
Trust me. You can trust me.
Now you're going to have that little exhale. We're good. We're 2-1.
They got Kansas City on deck.
In first place in the division.
And they got Kansas City on deck.
Yeah.
This is a spot where I'm taking Oakland, and the fact that this was 7 and came down to 6.5 tells me the Sharps did not want to let that 7 get away.
They took it. They
took it early, knowing the public is going to come back with this game. They wanted that. The public's not coming in and betting Oakland. I know the Raiders are going to.
There's still a lot of 7s around town, actually.
I bet 4 sides in NFL. 1, 2, 5 sides in NFL we bet so far. 3 of them are at +7. 1 of them's +3. Yeah. So 4 out of the 5 are key numbers.
Yeah, and as you said, how many teasers will there be this week?
Yep.
With Indianapolis tees down? Just win the game. Just win the game. Don't do it. This is a trap, guys. Don't be. I got Oakland pulling off the upset.
I can see that. I can see that. I can see that.
Marco.
Get a little.
That's it.
Okay. All right, guys. Time for us to take a commercial break. When we return, it's time for my favorite segment, the Barking Dogs.
Hey guys, have you heard the news? Due to the overwhelming popularity of our NFL show Bet On It, we've added a second show. The new show is Bet On It, the college edition. Just like the NFL show, there will be steam, trap, and sandwich games of the week. We'll have college barking dogs with lots of sprinkles and some fat and sassy plays too. And of course, best bets for the weekend's college action. Now we have you covered in both college and NFL, so you can bet on it. Both shows air Wednesday nights on WagerTalk TV on our YouTube channel.
Welcome back. You guys know this is going to be my favorite portion of the show each and every week because, hello, I love the underdogs. I hear on Twitter every single day, you only pick the underdogs. No, I just don't tell you guys about the favorites that I bet. It's just not as exciting. And I said this on the Sunday morning show at Bleacher Report. My co-host goes, Kelly, why do you like dogs? You like dogs because they're, what do you say, intriguing? I go, no, that's because I'm greedy and I like the plus money. And that's absolutely the truth. I like those underdogs that are going to get to the window maybe 3 out of 10 times. That plus 250, that plus 180 gets me every time. All right, Gianni. Sprinkle. Who's your sprinkle this week?
I'm going to make it simple. I told you why earlier and why take up more of your time. The New Orleans Saints are going to beat the Dallas Cowboys on Sunday night. So don't worry about that key 3 because you could bet it on the money line. I know it's not a big dog, but I think that money line is going to get higher. So you want to wait on those, that's for sure. Wait till 10 minutes before kickoff because you'll start to see that money come in on the favorite, on the money line, a lot of money line parlays. So usually the money line isn't exactly where it should be with the betting, with the spread, especially on primetime games. There's a lot of overlays, underlays there you could take advantage of, so you want to wait.
All right, Marco, who's barking?
Who's barking? We're going to bark with Buffalo. And Kelly, just one thing for you on, you love dogs. For our listeners out there, when you make a sports bet, there's 3 things that can happen. If you're betting an underdog, you can win 2 out of the 3 things that can happen. When you're betting a favorite, there's only one way to win. They have to win, and they have to win
convincingly.
Exceed the number that Vegas has put out there. You bet a dog, they can win the game outright. They can also lose, but
by
get
less than a certain amount.
under the number. So you should look for the dogs first.
There's a lot of 7s minus 105 out there, by the way. So do you think this one gets to 7.5? It's the Patriots. People are going to bet the Patriots.
They're going to bet the Patriots, but here's the thing. Will we see a 7.5 somewhere around town? Possible. Will we be able to bet it? Unless you are right there at that precise moment, you're not going to get it because
somebody's waiting on the screen.
The Sharps are, as soon as they see a 7.5, there's going to be a buy order to grab.
You're right.
The books make a decision, though. This is one of the cool things about what I got to do behind the scenes with all the bookmakers. I did a podcast yesterday for Gaming Today, and to sit in a room with 3 bookmakers and talk about
how
their reasoning.
Right.
And when they take a stance on the game, a lot of times they take that stance. They know if they get to 7.5, they're going to get that sharp action. Sometimes they don't want it.
Yeah.
Sometimes they've taken such a good stance on their position, they just let it ride.
You're getting 11-10, so you have that advantage where you could be wrong half the time and still make money. So they have that edge over the bettor. But with that said, they also have the advantage of able to shade towards those biases. So that's why you end up seeing they win more than they should, because even their holds 4.5%. We live here in Nevada where they put out the stats what the casinos make from their book in this. It's always more than 4.5% because they shade those lines towards biases, and you add in parlays.
I think we had this
teasers, and all
debate
that
with Brian
other
Leonard
stuff.
one time. Do they try to trap people?
Yeah. But
Okay, but tell me why you think they're going to win the game outright.
One thing to talk about these numbers with the 7s and then the 7.5s too. Most of the books are in Vegas will juice the 7 heavily before
they'd rather make you lay 125. Yeah.
Now, there is one sports book here in town, South Point. Michael Gaughan has made a firm stance, in Chris Andrews and Jimmy Vaccaro that run the sports book there. They do it. They will not juice a number. It's either going to be 7 or it's going to be 7.5. They don't play the games of minus 125 or minus 120 to try. Yeah, because when you do go to the 7.5, and those sharps do come in and grab that 7.5, the worst outcome for them is the game landing on 7. Okay, yeah, it's going to be a push with the majority, but all those sharps that came left come in and got the 7.5.
Buffalo's had no luck against New England, man.
They haven't.
They've gotten destroyed. 37
They
points.
could have covered the last game.
They've averaged less than
what's his name threw a pick 6.
Less than 10 points a game they've averaged the last 4 or 5 games.
Here's the thing.
So I'm saying that's why I think the line may go up.
New England's got the #1 defense, but look at the schedule they've played.
But do they? That's a fraudulent.
That is right. You look at the schedule. They've played 3 teams that have a combined record of 0-9. 0-9. And one of
They finally got a touchdown scored against them.
Yeah.
Finally.
Right.
Oh, wait, and that was the Jets' defense because Jarrett Stidham, who's already getting traded, threw a pick 6.
But surprisingly, Buffalo has the 4th best defense. So you're giving me a good defensive home dog in a division game. I'm just not sold, and you're going to hear all the sharps that will say New England's always overvalued. This is the one team that's been the anomaly to that. The sharps continually go against New England, and for a public team, that's not supposed to keep happening because they keep shading the number. You keep paying a premium. The books get killed week after week with New England action. Yet, that's the one team that still finds a way to do it.
Outperform the market, yeah.
But with that said, I'm on it, and I'm going to give you a stat again. We talked about this one before. Play against road favorites if they won at home the week before in the month of September. That's New England here. Play against them. If you've done that over the last 10 years in the NFL, it's 41-17. Now, I will say there's been a couple this year, and it didn't work. This is another one, but I'm going to trust the 10-year league-wide stat, and Ralph talks about them all the time. There's a difference between a team angle and a league-wide trend, and this makes it more appealing to me. I'm on Buffalo plus the points.
All right, when we return, we're going to tease you just a little bit.
If you like betting on horses, be sure to check out WagerTalk.com's own Sig, who zeroes on one racetrack at a time, offering his handicapping skills. Visit his homepage daily for his top selection in each race free. If you want all his selections for that track, you can get his full racing report for just $9.
All right, you guys, we've listened to your comments, and while our producer, a.k.a. Johnny Detroit, I don't know if he's really our producer.
No, he's not our producer. Okay, he tries to.
Okay, well, either way, he thinks we get rid of the teaser segment. The show's too long, but you guys want a teaser segment, so we're going to give it to you. Every single week, we're going to give you our best teaser of the week. VR, Marco, 2-team, 6-point NFL teasers. If you guys want to keep this segment alive, make sure you comment below because otherwise
it'll be gone.
Johnny's trying to get rid of it hard. It's been a fun group chat. If we could just get VR and iPhone, my life would be so much better.
They're for rich people, I told you, baby.
You guys, I'm going to buy him one. Screw it. Okay, Marco, I'm going to you first.
All right, I'm going to go with teaser, and I'm going to shock the world that I don't have one team in this 2-team teaser because the world is going to take Minnesota teased up against Chicago because that is the fundamental teaser. It's a low total, and you can tease up through all the key numbers, get it to 8.5. That is what you're supposed to do, but I'm not going to do that one. I just have, let's call it a gut feeling. Chicago coming off that Monday night game, an ugly win. They win, but was it them winning or Washington handing it to them? So be careful on that one. But where I am going to go is I'm going to tease Washington up to 8.5.
Oh.
Okay.
I have that too.
There's no.
See, this is why we're supposed to prep for the show, but it's just so much more fun.
For one of my sides, yeah. Because it just makes sense.
I'm not
and I even like the over. I like points in that game, but I still think
I cannot trust the Giants to get separation on a team.
That
and Washington did move the football until Case Keenum
tried to do a quarterback sneak like he was on the goal line. Let me throw the football out. I can't. I can't. Okay, so let's not. It doesn't matter.
Washington is not going against the Chicago Bear defense this week. So I'm taking Washington plus the 8.5. That is a good teaser. The second half of it, we talked about it. The line on Baltimore, yes, I think is a little bit juiced and too high. But I'm going to tease them down to 1. I don't see Cleveland yet showing me that they can go on the road and win a division game, and that's what they have to do here. The team I saw on the field Sunday night against the Rams is not ready to do that. Baker Mayfield, again, continues to overthrow receivers.
I'm not sure what's happening there with who's calling the plays, but last year we saw Baker Mayfield shine, and this year I'm not sure what the issue is.
Well, there's a year of film on him, too.
True.
Nobody had it. You know that when you have time to adjust and make things that they're going to benefit from.
When you put pressure on him, he makes mistakes.
Baltimore has played well. Baltimore last week never quit in that Kansas City game, even though they were down a lot of points early. They battled back, got it to 5 points for the cover. I like Baltimore to win this game. And if Baltimore does win this game, they got a stranglehold on the AFC North.
Yes, they do.
They could almost put the division away with a win here. So you know you're going to get their best effort, and they are coming off a loss. My teaser this week, Washington up, Baltimore down.
Okay, VR, you mentioned you also have Washington.
Washington up, yeah. And quickly, I'm going to nail it again just to send it home. New Orleans Saints Sunday night, tease them up to, 8.5? Through that key 3, through that key 7, you're not going to need it because they're going to win the game. But if you want to cash an extra ticket, might as well toss that one in, Washington Saints.
Okay. All right, guys, we're going to take a quick break. And when we return, it's time for some TNA with Ralph Michaels. Did you know every Tuesday is $2 Tuesday at WagerTalk.com? We pick the hottest handicapper and offer his best bet for just $2. This is a great way to introduce yourself to the winning handicappers at WagerTalk and SportsMemo.com. What's up, guys? Kelly in Vegas here, filling in for Vegas runner at Greek_Gambler. He's your favorite guy. Why? Because he's giving out $39 Saturday college football all-access passes. Sunday, $39 NFL all-access pass. College football and NFL have both turned a profit the last 2 weeks. There was no 5% play released last weekend, so there's at least one 5% coming this weekend. No coupon code required. Just head over to WagerTalk.com. Welcome back to Bet On It, and it's time for one of our most popular segments with one of my favorite guys, TNA with Mr. Ralph Michaels. Real quick, Ralph has a new show. It's not a new show. It was part of my old show, the Presidential Address. And each and every Wednesday, he's going to be doing a full NFL card rundown with one of my other favorite guys, the Prez. Shout out to Prez, so that I can do the Bet On It college football show. Ralph is taking over. So if you want more trends and angles, that is the place to go. Okay, Ralph, people love this stuff. You dig up all these stats. You have this crazy database. Tell me what you came up with for this week.
Well, you know, I know the Thursday night game is something that some people may not see on the show, but I just want to mention it because we've started off with road teams winning.
Yeah.
So people have the perception Thursday night's a big advantage being at home. But when you're playing a division foe, it's not an advantage because the team knows you well and they travel to your place. So let's look at non-division Thursday night home favorites. 36-14 against the spread. Non-division home favorites like Green Bay, first non-division home favorite of the year, just to put it out there.
This is weird. This is Green Bay's second Thursday night game.
But first is a non-division home favorite.
Right.
They played the Bears. So 36-14-3, 72% against the spread, and there's going to be numerous times to use it throughout the year.
Okay. What else do you have in your little back pocket over there?
Well, you know, this is a system where you want to play on a team on the second game of back-to-back away, like the Oakland Raiders are.
Okay.
A team that's off a loss, like the Oakland Raiders are. And a team that's a dog, like the Oakland Raiders are. Well, since 2013, in that spot, 14-0 over-under. And that goes well with an Oakland Raiders team that, in their last 15 road games, has allowed 30.6 points per game when on the road.
Wow.
And, you know, week 4, what do we always hear about? 3-0 teams and 0-3 teams.
Absolutely.
So, couple situations. Week 4 winless teams that are an away dog. So we have 0-3 teams that are on the road as an inferior foe. Those two teams are Washington and Cincinnati. They are 21-7, 75% against the spread. Who wants part of an 0-3 team that's an away dog?
Well, actually, I like a little bit about Cincinnati, but that's because they've shown me so much more than the Redskins have shown me.
5-1 ATS the last 4 years. Houston was 0-3 last year. They went into Indy as a dog, and they won the game outright. So
touche.
You don't remember those 0-3 teams, how ugly they are. But again, 21-7, that goes all the way back to 2003. So a strong angle.
You get that a lot on Twitter. I notice people are like, but why do you only go back to a certain year? What's
there's no question I'm pulling out a stopping point where the record changes. So, we are cherry picking numbers. But when you're going back to 2003, I think it's a long enough sample size. I'm not taking 15 games and stopping midway through a season and cherry picking part of a season. So yes, absolutely. The times I go back to,
whether it's 2014, 2009, 2003,
the record flattens out or evens out a little bit more.
Okay.
And then 2 more. Week 3, week 4, 3-0 favorites.
Okay.
Good or bad?
Week 3.
Week 4.
3-0
favorites.
3-0 favorites. I feel like they're probably pretty good.
17-9-2, 65% since 2009. Week 3 favorites of 7 or more, 10-1 against the spread. Woo. So nice situations. And lastly, this is just this year so far. This is an anomaly. Well, we'll see if it's an anomaly if it continues. Road teams this year in the NFL, just flat out road teams, 69.6%, 32-14-2 against the spread. Away favorites of 3 or more this year, perfect 8-0.
I was going to say, the Joes, the pros that you see every week on Twitter, they are absolutely crushing. Those short road favorites, just killing it. And that's just something that I usually make a very good habit not to bet, and I would be 8-0 this season. Amazing stuff, as always, Ralph. It's now time for our last break of the show, but when we return, it's best bet time.
Want up-to-the-minute scores and odds direct from Las Vegas? Then check out our WagerTalk odds page. You'll get all the latest lines along with moves as they happen from all the biggest books in Las Vegas, including Westgate Superbook, Circa, Golden Nugget, Wynn, Stations, CG, and South Point, just to name a few. Best of all, it's absolutely free.
Guys, I'm killing it in college and pro football. We've gone 16-4 the last 2 weeks with all of my plays, increasing my clients' bankrolls by over 41% in just 2 weeks. My famous 5% major wager plays have now won 4 weeks in a row after winning our 5% major wager game of the month on Saturday with Mississippi State -6, a 28-13 winner. Going back to last year, we are now 8-1. The last 9 with these special 5% major wager plays. My next 5% major wager goes this Saturday. You can get it by itself for $40 or pick up a 30-day all-access package. Normally $325, just $225 this week. You'll get all of my plays. And again, 16-4 the last 2 weeks. Check out my homepage at WagerTalk.com.
We are back, and there is only one thing left for us to do, so let's dive into our best bets. This week, I don't want to go first. I think I want to wait. Okay. I'm going to wait. I really like my best bet. And
Good. Make him wait.
Yeah.
You want to close? You want to close out the segment with your best bet? Hey, that's fine.
No, maybe I want to go in between you two, but I don't know. We'll figure it out wherever I feel really good about it.
Shouldn't that have been in the teaser section?
In the sandwich games, VR and Marco sandwich. Oh, good God, VR. What is your best bet?
All right. Listen, I'm serious. I bet a couple games that I really like this Sunday, and I'm not being biased at all. I swear. We joke around with it, and I was saying whatever, have fun with it. But I'm not going to take money out of my pocket and bet something just as a joke or urge other people to out of bias. And this has zero bias at all. I absolutely love the Detroit Lions again at home on Sunday. This line is...
You are going to make Kansas City fans...
I'm telling you, I haven't bet against... I think I bet against them maybe once only. It's week 4. I haven't faded. Honestly...
Does this get to 7?
Because they are the best regular season team in the NFL. By far. There is no better regular season team than the Kansas City Chiefs.
I thought you were going to give out the Saints.
No,
So I was like, okay, I get it.
I gave them enough. I want to give the viewers extra for free.
Okay.
For free, give it to them.
Is it gonna hit
Everybody's
7?
got to eat. That's why.
Is it going to hit 7?
It doesn't have to. Here's the problem. If it goes to 7, every wise guy's going to pick off that 7. This
Okay.
line, honestly, I'm telling you right now, this line should be 3.5.
Wow.
Even the 4.5, which was the look ahead, was a little bit high. The reason it's jacked up even more is because how Kansas City has looked, but more importantly, is Detroit has gotten no credit for their wins. All the talk is they beat up an injured San Diego team, wasn't it? Or whatever, Chargers, call them what you will. They beat the Eagles, but the Eagles were all banged up. The Eagles weren't playing. They got no credit at all. There's no faith at all in this Detroit team. I'm okay with that. You're giving me 7 points at home. You're talking they would be almost a 2-touchdown dog to Kansas City. In Kansas City, there's no way. That, to me, just doesn't make any sense at all. When you look at the spreads for Kansas City real quickly, they were -4 against Baltimore, -3.5 at Jacksonville, and now you're giving a touchdown at Detroit. Just doesn't make any sense. I'll take Detroit plus 6.5 even. It doesn't matter. You'll find 7. I would take this at honest 6. I'd bet 6 easily.
All right, Marco, your best bet?
I thought you wanted it in the middle.
Nah, I'm going to wait.
You're gonna
She's
wait?
going to wrap it with a bow. I told you.
Okay. All right.
She's like, you're both squares. I got something for you.
Definitely
I'm
don't
getting
think
between
that.
those two.
I definitely agree with your Detroit Lions play. Marco, let's see if I agree with yours.
Well, you'll have to hold your nose going to the window to bet it.
Sounds like my life every single week.
Okay, we're taking the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and Jameis Winston.
Oh, God.
All right.
I did it on the Thursday night game. I can probably do it again.
We're doing it. And I tell you what, all kidding aside, the best place for him is to be on the road, okay? Because there's so much pressure
And not
on
behind
him right
center, probably.
Well, when he's at home, every bad throw, they're going to boo. They want him out of there, this and that. On the road, you know you're getting booed. So go ahead, but you don't have the pressure. But really, let's look at this. For the LA Rams, this is a horrible scheduling spot.
It's a lot of points.
Horrible scheduling spot. You open the season, I talked about this last week. You go cross-country to Carolina to open the season. Then you come back home for that big NFC championship game rematch
With
against the Saints
yeah.
and all of that. Then you travel back across country again to play the Sunday night game against Cleveland. Big game. That's the hype team. The Browns were everybody's darling coming into the season. Now you come home to play the Rams, who just got beat by a rookie quarterback at home in Daniel Jones in the New York Giants. And oh, by the way, who's the Rams play next week? Seattle, the team that everybody expects to challenge them for the division. Horrible spot in that regard. Then let's look at Tampa Bay. Let's remember, Bruce Arians knows how to prepare for the Rams.
Yes, he does.
All those years at Arizona, he gave the Rams a lot of tough games with some very, mediocre Arizona teams. This Tampa Bay team has talent. If they don't
Mike Evans went off for 51 points last week.
If they don't turn the football over.
Sorry, in fantasy.
I pointed this out last week, and this is another thing you've got to watch. Todd Gurley, 3rd week in a row. I talk about in horse racing, looking at buyer speed ratings, and you want a horse that's going in the right direction. Every week, his run production is going down. I don't think he's 100%.
Only because you brought up Todd Gurley. This game reminds me of the Packers game last year where Todd Gurley took a knee at the 1-yard line because they didn't need to score.
Yeah.
They did, and that is.
But it was a smart play.
I'm not saying it's not,
Right.
but that would
Fantasy players went
yes,
nuts.
but be careful if you're laying double digits here with the Rams. Don't be surprised to see something as crazy as that happen here because they don't need that extra score.
I'm taking Tampa Bay plus the points. I'm not going to be crazy and do any sprinkles here. I'm just taking those 10 points.
Conservative.
Okay, well, you already talked about my best bet, so I'll keep it very quick. Buffalo plus the points here. I do like this Bills team. I don't make a habit to bet against Brady and Belichick. I never bet against them in Foxborough. I just don't do it. It's just on my do not do this list. But I bet against them 3 times last year. I bet against them at Jacksonville. I bet against them at Detroit, and I bet against them at Miami. And I think this is a key divisional game. The Bills are going to be hyped up for this game. I don't know if they're going to win outright.
It is.
I don't know if they're going to win outright, Marco. But at 7 points, I'm going to take the Buffalo Bills. Let's get rich, everyone. Hope you guys enjoyed tonight's show as much as we do doing it. We'd love to hear what your thoughts are. Please jump in the comment section. Leave us You love us, you hate us, you like certain segments, you don't like segments, stuff you guys would like to see. We always try to interact with everybody in the comment section. Be sure to give us a thumbs up. Hit the little bell so you can subscribe, get notifications. That way you guys are always the first to know when next week's show is out. Till next week, let's bet on it.